Hi again, everybody. This video is sponsored by contribution from Becky, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. I'll call myself Becky for my own anonymity, but will post the other characters' real names. The past 2 years have been such a horse and pony show. I am honestly still wrapping my mind around this. I beat myself up a lot regarding this situationship that I've decided to continue to participate in, even after there were various red flags right up front. In hindsight, I have deep abandonment issues due to the fact that my father is a narcissist, along with several family members on my mother's side, including my maternal grandmother who committed suicide before I was born. Ironically, none of these really came to light until I was really hurt by my ex-covert narc, Michael. Since learning about all of this, I have found myself questioning whether was really a narc because he's very shy, quiet, and unassuming. Hoping you can confirm this for me. So, backstory to the narc story is that I have two children with a man I was not in love with. We created two beautiful children whom we both love dearly and have a cordial co-parenting relationship with for the most part. That's now. In the beginning, when he was cheating on me during both my pregnancies, I was very hurt, vulnerable, and raw. Perfect breeding ground for a narcissist to swoop right in. Enter stage left, Michael the narc. I met him back about 5 years ago. We were introduced by a mutual Facebook friend as we were both from Rochester, New York. He is 9 years my senior. We met at an annual festival where he brought his then 3-year-old son. He was nice enough, but rather detached and a somewhat arrogant essence about himself. He brought his gay friend with him, I suppose to act as a buffer, but also in hindsight, he's a closeted homosexual, which makes more sense now. He remarked to his friend how it reminded him of Billy, his son's mother, whom he was at the time going through a divorce with. Long story short, I took a pass on this guy. I knew he wasn't over the X, and there was something that just wasn't really right about him. We did, however, remain Facebook friends. Keep in mind, Billy comes integral later in this story. She's the main triangulation peg in his life, and any woman he deals with has to contend with his completely dysfunctional dynamic. I learned the hard way. Fast forward to a few years later, and I just had my son, and we found ourselves having a very casual lunch. I worked in Durham, where he lives, and we discussed going to an upcoming music concert. I think I have haphazardly asked him to go on Facebook since it was in Durham, and he was really the only person I knew that lived there. I'm from New York and don't have many authentic connections here in North Carolina. The concert was cool, uneventful. We went back to his place afterwards, and he just kind of sat on the couch, like waiting for me to make a move, maybe. Once I didn't make an express move towards him, he seemed subtly irritated and told me he was going to bed. Okay, night night. Another few years went by, maybe a lunch or two sprinkled in. Also, at these lunches, the primary conversation topic was centered around his now ex-wife Billy and how she's very of is now how she, and how she's a very conscious member of the community and how she knows a lot of people. So all of her evil was going under the radar. Her not even wanting to spend time with her son, her not contributing financially to daycare, school, or whatever, her not paying him back money she borrowed, her being in a new relationship and duplicating how they fell in love, and basically he was stalking her Facebook page. Red flags galore. Fast forward again to 2014, I had just had my daughter a few months prior. It was a very tumultuous time for me. I learned my older brother and best friend was dying of cancer, and my children's father was being very cruel and extremely immature about the lives we had just recently brought into the world. I felt very alone and vulnerable. September 2014, I found myself at lunch with this guy again. It was nice to see him. It was nice to have someone pay attention and care for me, especially since the only person whom I thought should have been doing that the most, basically abandoned me in my time of need after just giving birth to his children. In hindsight, I put a lot into this dynamic trying to overcompensate. As I write this all down, it's clear to me now. Man, I was so jacked up. Anyway, at this particular lunch, I teased him about still not being over his ex-wife. He stated he definitely was, and that he had just started dating someone else, and they actually had a baby on the way. I congratulated him and was genuinely happy for him. He quickly told me that the woman wanted nothing to do with him, and explained how she was 40. They met on a dating site, and she was talking about in vitro before they met. So basically implied she just wanted him to get pregnant and nothing else. I asked him, was the dynamic between him and his ex-wife anything to do with it? To which he gave me a look that confirmed, mind you, I didn't mind too many tabs on this. I didn't keep too many tabs on this dude, but anytime I saw him on Facebook with any pictures of their son, she was tagged in it, and she was commenting excessively, and she was very showboat, i.e., Jesus, the more I write this, the more I feel like a damn idiot. So many bad judgments I made. He made up, he put up a front like he was the nice guy who just keeps getting a bad hand. Somehow we decided that a rendezvous would be a good idea. Stupid, stupid, stupid. We were intimate shortly after this lunch, and that's when the charm really came out. Over the next several months, we spent a lot of time together, went on dates, had great sex, even traveled together. He introduced me to Billy, the ex-wife, and even came to Indiana with me to pick up my teenage son who had gone to live with my brother before we knew he was dying. He strategically inserted himself into really tender emotional situations in my life. Now I see he was trying to set up a false sense of loyalty to him. I wanted to believe this was a love story. I wanted to believe that we both happened to be dealt a similar bad hand by having children with people who didn't want us, and that made it meant to be. Man, was I naive. He was spending most of his free time with me. I was around his son constantly. The woman whom was carrying his child consistently wanted nothing to do with him. And we even spent the night the evening before her C-section. She had told him she was only to be near her. He was only to be near her during the appointments, and from what I thought I believed that. During this time, he also painted many stories about his ex-wife Billy how his ex-wife Billy manipulated him and asked her to marry him on national TV years back, and he never really wanted it. He also told me about his ex whom keyed his car because she was crazy and overreacted one night when Billy spent the night at his place due to her not wanting to drive home. Side note, she's never lived that far from him. They did and still have inappropriate boundaries which prevent either one of them from being with anyone else. Yet they both act oblivious to this fact. Billy also recounted the experience of the crazy ex and painted this woman out to be crazy. Later in the story, I found out the real deal with that too. Around the time his daughter was born, he fell back a bit. Naturally, I understood what a small baby myself. In fact, I talked myself into respecting the fact that he was so devoted to his new child and was a great dad by going and supporting his daughter's mother. I saw him what I wished, and I saw him what I wish I had with my children's father. When I wanted to sit down with him and ask what was going on and where we were headed, he became visibly uncomfortable and silent. He had a lot of anguish talking about anything of an emotional, intimate nature. We fizzled a bit when she was born, and I was really hurt. Just as suddenly he came back around, wanting to see and spend time with me. I had been struggling with my baby weight and definitely had low self-esteem. I went back, we played house with his new baby. Side note, I rarely brought my children around him. We hung out when their father had them. It got so involved again that I thought surely he had just realized I was the one for him and was acting as such. He got a call from his mother that She could be dying. Yes, now I realize his mother was a narc after meeting her, and he needed to come up to Rochester ASAP. He asked me to go along. I went and visited my mother while I was there since we were from the same town. It was a lovely trip. His mother was in the hospital. The first comment she made when he introduced us as "she's beautiful," which he harped on for hours afterward. I thought that was strange. His mother came home from the hospital and was bedridden. We threw him a surprise birthday party as we were there during his birthday. I met his sister and nieces, and they all loved me. We had a grand time. One thing that didn't seem odd to me until now, as I'm learning about NPD, is that she wanted me to help her adjust her catheter and willingly let me go upstairs. I have since put together that she is likely a narc, and that's why he must have some woman always come home with him to serve as a buffer. He was also clearly coddled and was the golden child, while his sister was and still is the scapegoat. The way their mother spoke to her as if she was a piece of shit while she did everything in her power to care for her and take care of her home while she was in the hospital didn't make sense until now. As soon as we got back to North Carolina, I was discarded. I couldn't understand. I didn't get why or how, but was done after this and limped away with another broken heart. I was angry that he had tricked me again and that I had gave him the opportunity to do so. His ex-wife Billy and I took a few mutual yoga classes. We ate dinner a few times at the Whole Foods up the street where we got to talking about him. Since him and I were over, I assumed she didn't give a shit about the repercussions because, as far as I was concerned, that chapter was closed. She explained to me how he would act very single and then would go cold, and when she would get upset. He abruptly moved out of the house several times without warning. Side note, I also remember him mentioning to me, almost proudly, how two women were arguing over him in college. Same time frame he was dating Billy. Learning of all this, I was like, wow, this dude really is a piece of shit. Fast forward a few months, I wound up moving to Durham. I worked in Durham and also wanted my two young children to attend a specific homeschool, her also. That was in January of this year. I had even started dating again and felt I was really beyond the mess. Of course, Michael began subtly trying to make his way back in. I won't draw it out, but he was ultimately successful after much apologizing and pleading on his end and a few actions that seemed to display yet another change of heart from him. All was fine and well. I was included in family events, him taking his ex-wife out for a birthday dinner with her grown son, his stepson, and both his children, and my teenage daughter. My teen even looked after his children a few times, but now I realize it was only for events involving his ex and not for us alone. We did go on our own dates, but the last straw was when him and Billy decided to take their son and his new daughter on a beach weekend trip. When I voiced my blatant objection to it, I was hit with, "We're doing this for our son, and the children come first," which was always their excuse for operating as a married couple for the public and social media, then get applauded for being such amazing co-parents. Yet he talks about her like a dog and secretly resents her, and likely all women. The disturbing thing I noticed was with this incident and previous others is how he could subtly intimidate me and try to make me cry. But also, I dumped him and was teetering, and he took me to dinner in an attempt to win me back and completely ignored me the whole time as he spoke to his sister. Then he began checking in with the daughter's mother at the gun range and up in New York with him after I blocked him from social media. The same woman who wanted nothing to do with him. Forgot to mention, he's also a self-proclaimed biker who travels back bike week almost every year. Knowing from what I know, I think it's an annual gay boy convention. He's secretive about it and basically everything in his life. This hurt me deeply, and I began to question, to learn, and and a friend mentioned she used to date a narcissist. I found Sam Vakinen and other YouTube channels, including yours, which have spread so much light on this for me. This promoted me to reach out to the crazy ex, and man, our stories sounded so identical. Same gaslighting from him and the ex-wife. Billy even wrote her a 2-page letter reassuring her that they were in fact over and how she thinks they are so good for each other. Same thing she told me. The scary news was when she asked me, he had told me that he was positive for anything. My heart sank. I thought she was going to tell me this man had HIV. Thankfully, it wasn't. It was herpes. It's still the gift that keeps on giving. I still became so scared. I never had any symptoms or outbreaks and scheduled the doctor's appointment immediately. Not sure how I escaped without contracting this, likely because he was on suppression therapy. But the fact that he never informed me made me livid. The ex also informed me that any time he discarded me, he basically picked back up with her. Learning all of this promoted me to reach out to his youngest daughter's mother and let her know everything. How long we've dated, and that he was now stalking me after blocking him on social media. He almost ran off the road at my children's daycare, to which I immediately filed an order of protection after learning about MPD. I don't trust him at all. Not sure what the fallout was from that. He took his Facebook page down for about a month, but it's back up now. He puts a huge front on Facebook, like in his life is, after all, being a good father. His house is a mess, borderline hoarder, and he refuses to organize anything other than his large collection of shoes and clothes. He shops successfully, always has packages to return, etc. He's a chronic pill popper. He runs to the doctor for everything and has prescription bottles littering his bathroom. He tags both his mother's children in every picture he posts of the children, and there's a fake happy, loving exchange between him and both the women so everyone can see how mature they are as co-parents. Dang, this is all crazy, so crazy and toxic. Take it easy on me, Ollie. Hindsight is 2020. I see now I was caught up in such a mindfuck of a scenario now. Excuse me. Okay. This is what I think was going on with him and the ex-wife. Becky. What you found out later on is he had herpes. Now, you didn't get herpes because you said he was probably on outbreak suppression therapy. But I wouldn't be surprised if these little back-offs and run-backs to the ex coincided with herpes outbreaks. It would make sense that both of them are doing the same thing. So he's more than likely a closeted homosexual as well, because he's a narcissist. And narcissist, it's not even about the sex, it's about the deviance. You understand? So what it looks like is one of the two of them picked up herpes, whether he gave it to her, she gave it to him, he got it from one of his gay pals, what have you. Okay, and he gets off on this image of these women abusing him, yet he draws back as a way of manipulating you and other women, that these other women are so terrible. Okay, yet he's holding this secret that he has herpes, and he keeps going back to the same woman. who keeps taking them back, and they're playing this game where you said she has status within the community. So that relationship probably supports several things. They can hide their herpes. They can still have sex with each other when the outbreaks occur. And they can manipulate their other partners as well. You know, he is nothing more than a user. And what you told me about his mother, he would fall into one of these golden child son husbands of a narcissistic mother. It all follows the pattern, the emasculation, you know, the gay tendencies, the stealing of his manhood, the black sheep sister, the using of women, the lies of women, the spreading of disease. Thank God you didn't get it, but I wouldn't be surprised if these herpes outbreaks coincided when he pulled back, because it served two purposes. Not only does he not have to tell you about his herpes, he can go back to his supply, triangulate with several women, keep you unsure, keep you crying, and keep you running back to him. So, yeah, this guy's a narcissist. Don't be too hard on yourself. Okay, you said you grew up with narcissism in your family, so that's why you're susceptible to it. I'm sure his tactics follow the same line of narcissistic tactics that you grew up with to begin with. So that's how you ended up here. Okay? But think about what you've learned and all the aha moments you're having. That herpes is another reason why he would withdraw, because then he can hide it from you, still have sex, run back, and triangulate. There's always a motive to what the narcissist does. Once you know the motive, you can discover the rest of the tactics. So thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any advice or opinions in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a narcissist you'd like to expose or a topic you'd like me to cover, you know what to do with the PayPal and the email link in the description box. And remember, when you do email me your story to the link in the description box, to please put at the top of the email whether it's with or without contribution and what name you'd like to go by. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.